So we're here to answer the question, what are the top 10 best cards from Photon Hypernova? Alright, to the 34% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button, smash it so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So we're here to answer the question of what are the best cards in Photon Hypernova. Number one is going to be Gigantic Champion Sargass. And this was actually really hard. I really debated if Sargass was really worth putting in the top 10, but I mean, when you have a giant exceed monster that can be plopped on top of Merrymaker, which is a generic rank 4, the ability to search for, any Spriggans or Thurion card, and then the ability to search for, Tally Ho, which ends up turning this thing into a massive destruction machine, which effectively has a mini soul charge attached to it. You kind of got to ask yourself, I think that's good. Alright, the fact that you can just convert, a rank 4 into this, and then you can go ahead and do whatever extension subplace that you need to do with this, and then go ahead and drop a big old Zeus on top of it, you really got to ask yourself, is there anything better than that in the set? Well, I mean, there are 9 other better cards, but that's neither here nor there, so I think this card is definitely very, very up there on the list. Next up is going to be Waybridge. Now, I had a huge debate on putting this on the list too, but when you have cards that work like evenly matched in the game, you kind of got to ask yourself, they create unique scenarios. So if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters than you do, your opponent must send monsters they control to the graveyard so that they only control 1. Yes, they will have 1 monster at the end of the resolution of Waybridge, but I think that's fine, especially when you're basically forcing the opponent to make the decisions on what to send, and especially since it's a trap card for Labyrinth anyway, you're just kind of generating some big advantage here that's going to basically push your opponent over the edge, and then they're going to be like, oh god, like, what is this? Also 100% chainable, and that's what you like to see from particular cards like this, is just massive power sprees, and you're like, oh yeah, hey, time to go ahead and evenly discount my opponent again. Alright, next up is Big Welcome Labyrinth. Now this card is what is going to put Labyrinth on the map. So let's let you special summon a Labyrinth monster from your hand or deck or graveyard, and then return 1 monster you control to the hand. So technically you can activate this, special summon any Labyrinth, and then you'll have to return that Labyrinth to your hand if you don't have another one, but that's fine. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Fiend monster you control, or if your opponent controls if you control a level 8 or higher, target 1 card your opponent controls, return that to the hand. So you get a special summon from the deck, and on top of things, you get the ability to basically return a card that your opponent controls to the hand. Count me in, honestly. Like, this card, you're going to see Labyrinth getting the chance to kind of do some really cheesy stuff, and that is what so many people have been waiting for, is just splashable, splashable, splashable good stuff. Alright, yay, Labyrinth. Trap decks going to actually be kind of threatening here, so that's definitely interesting. Next up is the Grand Gogonal Dragon. So this is a little bit early for this, but the fact that it is what it is. So you can make this with Blazing Cartesia plus a light or dark monster. If this card is fused in something, you can send a level 6 or higher light or dark monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Now you will get other future interactions with this, but this card right now, stepping through here, is going to be interesting. And if a monster is special summoned by your opponent's activated monster effect, except during damage step, you banish this card from your field, special summon 1 Dogmatica from your deck or Despia monster from your extra deck. There's a lot to unpack there with this, but you're going to get some really cheesy interactions with this card in the future with the extra deck dumping options from this card. So, Despia decks are going to get a pretty big boost from this card. Like, let's not discount that at all. So, really, really looking forward to seeing, how this card will bring a difference of things to the table here. Next up is Evie Neranaman. So you can ritual summon this card with any Gishki ritual. If this card is ritual summon, target 1 water monster in your graveyard to special summon it. Okay, so that's kind of some free real estate. Cannot be destroyed by battle a monster special summon from the extra deck. That's also very crucial. Once your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, return 1 Gishki ritual monster you control to the hand. If you do, negate that activation, and if you do, shuffle that target into the deck. This is a 3,000 ritual monster that has a walking, talking Omni Negate that swings itself back up to the hand, does its thing. You can revive any water monster on ritual summon for this card. And now Gishki cards have the ability to fully ritual summon via attributing the opponent's monsters. What more did you really want on a card? Alright? This card will give Gishki Sprite the chance to kind of shine, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing if they will stick around as a potential powerhouse there. Next up is going to be Gravekeepers Engraving. Oh, I'm so excited for this card. Like, you have no idea, like, how good I think this card is. So at the start of your main phase 1, apply one of these effects to both players till the end of your opponent's turn. They cannot activate card effects in the graveyard, they cannot banish cards from the graveyard, or they cannot special summon monsters from the graveyard. This is a free shut-off for tier for 2 turns, yours and your opponent's. Which means that your opponent can't get the option to toggle through, you know, oh boy, I can activate my tier effects to mill in my hand. Yeah, that's really what you care about. Well, Robbie, it's not searchable. Yeah, and you know, 95% of hand traps aren't searchable, but people still play them. Alright, that's very important to understand. This plus a Raigeki is like cleanup tier Isle level 9, so very excited for this one. Like, I think this card is very solid. Next up is Bysteel Baldrake. Hey, look, it's another Bysteel. This is like automatically like second or third best. Depends on how you consider the valuement of our dear friend Druid's Worm. So, same thing, banish light or dark, special summon it. And then if your opponent summons a Ritual Fusion, Synchro Exceed, and or Link monster, you contribute 1 light or dark monster, target one of those special monsters, and banish it. It doesn't inherently negate the special summon, and you have to have another light or dark on the field in order to toggle that, but at the bare minimum, it's another DD Crow that's huge AF. Like, that is absolutely amazing at the end of the day. And when you get extra little sublines of text like that, okay, if you see double Bysteel, you are good to go with this. Problem is, now that there's another competitive deck in the room, the Bysteel value kind of goes down a wee little bit. Next up, I have to put pretty much all the Kashtira cards. This is going to include Papyrus, the field spell, and then good old Riseheart itself. I mean, what do you want from a theme that just got this much power at the end of the day? The fact that you handed this deck the ability to extend out, the ability to have a walking... I think the thing that's most broken is the fact that they now have the walking, talking Macrocosmo and a detached 3 on a quick effect to interrupt the opponent. Like... that's all on a 3,000 attack monster, by the way. Let's just take a moment to really process all of that. Konami was crazy when they made this archetype. They really wanted to show the world that, hey, there is some crazy power that we can kind of step through here, and we can showcase that, hey, you know, we can try to make a sub-deck. Reality of the situation is it's still probably going to be a little bit subpar in comparison to a lot of the other good stuff coming here. Next up is going to be Thrusting. God, that's never going to get old. So if your opponent activates a monster effect, this turn set 1 normal spell or trap card directly from your deck. High evenly matched, but it can't be activated this turn. But if your opponent controls a monster, you can add it to your hand. That's where the value comes into play. You can search for any normal spell card that you want that you're going to need to activate. You can search for talents with this. You can search for terraforming to search for your field spell to pull your opponent out. Hey, you want to draw some cards like a pot card? You can toggle for all of that. That is what makes this card nuts. Problem is it's a lot of decks, we're just playing this as like a 1 to 2 of. Very splashable at the end of the day. And yeah, I think that's fine. The problem is you got to have monster effect. You got to make sure your opponent can trigger those monster effects, and which means you need to have ways to trigger them. If your opponent isn't having, you know, effects triggering, there's no real point to trying to play this. And then the best card in the set is actually Tier Elements Kashtira. Yeah, I'm sticking with this. This is the biggest power-up that Tier gets. Because now you have a main phase quick effect, special summon this from your hand, by banishing a Kashtira or Tier Elements card from your hand or graveyard. And on normal or special summon, you can send the top 3 cards of either player's deck to the graveyard, which, okay, let's go ahead and mill our Tier cards. Oh, look, now I got the ability to do some fusion summons. Oh no, what are you gonna do? The answer is you're not gonna do anything. That's the cold, hard part of the situation here that really has a lot of people up in arms about this, but yeah, this is like literally the best card in the set. So are you shocked by any of this? But please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons! Thank you!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.